Hi everyone and welcome back to Googie's Kitchen. My name's Alexis and today I want to show you how to make my delicious biscotti from my new cookbook, Gifts from Grandpa. Today I want to show you how to make my delicious biscotti recipe, but before I do, if you are new to my channel, then hello and welcome. It's lovely to have you here, and if you like cooking videos and you want to see more like this one, then I upload every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 AM, so please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As I just mentioned, today I want to show you how to make my delicious biscotti recipe, and this recipe is in my new cookbook, Gifts from Grandpa, which is available to buy on Amazon, and I will link it in the description box below for you. This book has been written in loving memory of my dad because I think that my dad was an amazing cook. So I wanted to write down a lot of his recipes and put them in this book. So in this book are lots of my dad's recipes, a couple of my nan's, a couple of my recipes and one of my grandfather's as well. My dad also believed that everybody should have a home and everybody should have a place to go to. So £1 from the sale of each book will go to the homeless charity Crisis. Now, onto my biscotti recipe, and this recipe, as always, is really simple, and it's also brilliant to do with kids as well. So I thought, as the summer holidays is on, I thought I'd share this one with you. It's one that I have made with Ted in the past. We made a robot out of it, and also it reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to go into the kitchen with my dad and we'd make biscuits together. So it's one. It has a lot of memories attached to it, making biscuits with children. So I thought it was a great one for the summer holidays, and I thought I'd share it with you today. So here is how to make my delicious biscotti recipe. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat the oven to 180 degrees. I've got myself a large mixing bowl and a mixing spoon as well, and to that I'm going to add 225 grams of wholemeal spelt flour. You can use plain spelt flour or you can use plain flour if you want to. I just find that wholemeal spelt flour makes it taste that bit. It gives it a lot of texture and a lot of taste, I have to say. And then to that I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder as well. I'm just going to give those a mix round. And then I'm also going to add 100 grams of coconut sugar. Now if you don't have coconut sugar, you can use brown sugar as well. And again, I much prefer using coconut sugar or brown sugar because I find it makes the biscuits a bit tastier really. And then to that, I'm also going to add, now it does say in the book vanilla powder, but unfortunately I've run out of vanilla powder, so I've just used the inside of half a vanilla pod. So I cut the vanilla pod in half, and then I scraped out the seeds. So I'm just going to stir that in as well, and that vanilla pod makes it smell really nice as well. And then I'm going to add in the butter to that. Once everything's mixed in nicely, I'm going to pour in the butter, pour that in, and then hopefully that should start to stick together. And I'm also going to put in the honey now as well. I just grabbed myself a spatula to get the honey out, so I'm just going to pour that in as well. Put this in. That's lovely. So that's the honey in, and that's the butter gone in as well. And then I'm going to add in an egg to that as well. Oh, if I don't drop the shell in it. Just going to mix that up. And I'm going to pour this on as well, and then I'm going to mix all of these ingredients together, and hopefully we should get like a biscuit dough. If it is a bit dry, you can always add a bit more butter or another egg, or even a bit of milk as well. I think this might be slightly dry. You want them to be a bit dry because they are biscotti. So don't worry too much if you don't think it's going to all mix together. It will eventually. It's going now, so there you go. And that's the biscuit base done. And don't worry too much as well if it's all crumbly. You can just stick it together with your hands when we come to rolling it out, which we're going to do next. So that's the biscuit base done. Some spare flour here, and this I'm just going to use to dust the board with. And then I've got my dough ball, so I've made it into a ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that into quarters. I might do 1/4 first and see how I get on actually. And then I'm going to roll this out very thin if you can. If you can't, don't worry, but they do taste a lot nicer when they're very thin. And they also go really crunchy as well. Just makes them, I think it just makes them a bit better when they're a bit thinner, that's all. Move the knife out of the way. Right. So, I'm now going to cut the dough with my shape cutter. And I'm going to put that on my spare board. And I'm just going to keep repeating this process until all the biscuits are cut from the dough. So I've finished cutting the biscuits, and as you can see they are very thin. So that's about the depth that you want on your biscuit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these into the fridge for about half an hour. And the reason I put them in the fridge is simply because it gives the biscuit, when they go stone cold and then you put them in a hot oven, it gives the biscuit a bit of extra crunch. And that's what I like in my biscuits, a bit of extra crunch. So yes, I'm going to put these in the fridge now. So the biscuits have been in the fridge for about half an hour. And while I was preheating the oven, I put these stones in. Now these are my Pampered Chef stones. And what you do is you put these into the oven while it's preheating, and then you take them out and you put the biscuits on them. And the great thing about Pampered Chef stones is they absorb the badness from the food, but they actually leave the goodness while they're cooking. So that's why I like to use them. And they make biscuits really crunchy as well. So yes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put all of the biscuits onto these 2 baking trays, or Pampered Chef stones, and then I'm going to put these back into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'd probably say about 12 in our oven, but obviously it depends on your oven as to how well they cook, how long it takes them to cook. So it's dependent on your oven, but yes, that's how long, about 12 minutes it normally takes my oven. So I'm just going to carry on and put these onto the baking tray now. Both baking trays with the biscuits on, and as I said, I'm going to put this into the oven now. So the biscuits are done and they're looking really lovely and golden brown. So I'm going to leave these to cool on the baking trays for a while, because otherwise they'll still be a bit too soft. So I'm just going to let them go cold, and then I'm going to transfer them to a cooling rack. As I said, I've removed the biscuits or cookies from the baking trays and I've left them on the cooling rack, and I'm just going to try one now. I just want to see. Oh yeah, that's really lovely and crunchy. Look at that. I'm just going to give this a little try, see what it's like. That is really good. Yeah, they're lovely. Really nice biscuits. So that's how you make my delicious biscotti, and that recipe is in my new cookbook, Gifts from Grandpa, and I will link this in the description box below for you, and I'll also link the recipe in the description box below too. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. Do you enjoy making biscuits, and have you ever tried to make biscotti? I'd love to know, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.